How are we going, everyone? Yesterday I showed you this citrus tree that we just quickly staked up. You know, I wasn't expecting to do that job, but nevertheless we did. And I mentioned about the soil there. Now these are growing in grow bags or grow pots. They're a felt bag, which means it's quite airy. It allows air to flow really freely, uniformly all the way around, as opposed to a ceramic pot or a plastic pot, which obviously there's no airflow or very little airflow going through the actual pot. This here allows the roots to grow outwards evenly because there's air going through it. It's not compacted, it's not a solid wall, and if it does try to penetrate through the actual felt, well, the sunlight, so imagine that being the felt wall, and these fingers here are the roots. As soon as they penetrate through, the sun will hit on them and scorch them and just dry them out, so they won't be able to grow any further. Whereas in the pot, a ceramic pot or even a plastic pot, what happens is they push up into the wall, and because it can't penetrate through, it does a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn or up or down, and it'll keep wrapping itself around. So what happens, once it turns in one direction, it'll keep growing around that wall, and it's what we call strangling. It's a root knot. And eventually, if it's a big plant in the pot, you try and transplant that out into the ground because it's so aged and already formed up in its really irregular and wrapped around root system, it won't grow out proper roots, so it never really does establish well. So if you're looking to buy advanced trees, you need to get them in a felt bag like this, or there are other ones that are designed specifically so that they can pull apart and the roots are growing uniformly. And always make sure that it's not pot bound. So it's difficult to check a large tree or shrub or plant if it's pot bound or not. You only find out once you take it out of the pot. If you're at the garden centre, ask the local nursery people there to tell you the age of the plant and how long it's been in that pot, because we do grow them up from small tube stock all the way to a 500 centimetre wine barrel and more. Now, another question that came through, these haven't been watered, by the way. So from yesterday, I said they needed to be watered. We haven't watered them. I walked away because I am very forgetful. Short-term memory problems at the moment, folks. What was I talking about? These ones here haven't been watered, so I've come back today to give them a good water, but also top them up with the compost and the fertilizer. And also the question was, are these dwarf trees? No, they're not dwarf trees. These are normal size growing trees. Dwarf tree wouldn't even reach this height, by the way. It'll only grow up to about that height there. These are normal trees, so this tree has a potential to grow up to 6 metres, although I won't allow it, and the roots won't be allowed. So if they do push out through, they'll only get out about a centimetre or two before they scorch off, and they'll burn off from the sun. So now all we're going to do is add some superfood, and the other thing I should mention is the compost. A while back we planted my tomatoes directly into the compost, and it's the stuff that we're going to release soon. Now, folks, a lot of you want it, I know, because you email and still ring up, and you're also wanting the superfood to be delivered, but the problem is the cost of postage. We can't avoid that. We're trying to get a cheaper rate for you so we can send out more products far and wide across Australia. But we did say you can come up, and it's only obviously if you're visiting Victoria, you can be welcome to come down to Lethbridge as well. But for the Victorians who can travel, we're open here at Lethbridge, so you can come and pick up whatever you need and save yourself a bundle of money, especially on postage. And our second location, we're setting it up as we speak, so that will soon be announced as well. Now, this is the compost that we are going to release as well, and this is steaming hot. I went and picked some up myself today. Now, this was on my ute all day, so I picked it up in the morning. It's afternoon now. It's still holding its moisture. You can see how it crumbles away. It's a little bit dehydrated for my liking at the moment, but still, look, a little bit of a stain means the moisture is there. Now, the reason why it's dehydrated, because it's sitting on the back of a ute for about 8 hours. It was about 29 degrees today, so dare I say, I dried it out pretty well. So we're going to add this on there. It's going to be available for you for pickup from locations and hopefully at local garden centres across the states. So before I add that there, I'm going to add some superfood as well. This is our superfood castings, or soldier fly larvae castings. It doesn't matter if I sprinkle it in it, because one on top of the other. That is a mixture of all the wonderful fresh produce, you know, whether it's vegetables or fruit that's been left to rot out. They've taken it and converted it into what we know as being a fertilizer, or an organic fertilizer for all types of plants. So a nice big handful around the base here, like that. Don't have to dig it in, because we're going to top it up on top. We're going to top it up on top. I speak bad English today again, with some compost. So we top up, and we spill some. A couple of shovels on top, 2 or 3 inches over it, spread it out evenly like that, And let's get the hose on it. You can add mulch if you like on top as a blanket, but being a pot, compost, for me it's adequate. Let's see if this absorbs, huh? Give it a second, give it a second. There you go. Not too bad considering it is a bit dry. It's still absorbing. So we hydrate this a few times. Now what I've just done there, that doesn't mean there's plenty of water there, folks. It's just pulling up. It's got to soak through. We're opening up the pores in the compost. It has to absorb it like an old dry sponge does. And once that happens, then the networking starts and the life comes to, well, the bacteria comes to life. Without water, nothing lives. So hydrate your plants after you fertilize them. Our recommendation, superfood, black grit. I didn't add any black grit here, but that doesn't matter. It's got it underneath already from previous fertilizing. And compost on top. And more importantly, a few goes at hydrating it. So on the water, turn it off. Let it soak and start again. Get it? And there you have it, folks. So feed your plants if you haven't done it already. Superfood, black grit, compost, whatever you like, as long as it's organic and natural for your garden. So don't put any chemicals into your garden and regret it at the end of the day. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. Everything you need there at discounted prices. From me, Vasily, Maresi.